Well, hey now, welcome to Fitz's Electric Bar. Welcome. Happy New Year to you, 2024. I think everybody's explained what this Vinyl Tag 2024 is, so I'm not going to go into it, but thank you, Rob Walker, for the list of questions, and I'm going to try to get through these in a brisk 28 minutes, maybe quicker than that. So first up, favorite record you purchased in 2023? Well, I'm already going to kind of go off a little bit on a tangent. So the favorite record that was released in 2023 would be The Clientele. I'm not here anymore. I'm not there anymore. To me, this is a great mixture of some interesting experimental stuff, some beautiful nostalgic kind of very Brit-pop feel to it. It's got that sensibility to it. Part of it's vocally, but also musically. It just seems like something that might have been released in the early 70s. It's got elements of things like As Tears Go By and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of depth to this, and it's been... I enjoyed it right from the beginning, but it's grown and grown and grown on me. I really like this, The Clientele. So that's the one released this year that I really enjoy. The one that favorite record that I purchased is a reissue with Arthur Verocai, so Brazilian artist, released in the 70s, I think. I just found myself playing this over and over again. It was so different from anything that I kind of knew, and I immediately gravitated towards it, and I just found that every day for many days, I just felt I had to start my day with this. It's an excellent, excellent album. Number 2 question, the last record you bought in 2023. So Lord Huron, love this cover. There were a couple songs that I heard, I guess, that had come up on the algorithms and the streaming platform that I really liked. And I've been looking to buy this, and it's been a little hard to find, so been able to get this. It's really, really nice record. It was the last thing that I bought, so I'm still in the process of absorbing it. It's called Long Lost. Definitely major amounts of melancholia, and anybody who listens to my channel knows that I love me some melancholia. A band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. Well, one of my favorites is Daniel Romano out of Welland, Ontario. And in 2020, during the pandemic, he went nuts. The first thing I heard by him, and I'll put a link down below, was a reimagining of Bob Dylan's Infidels. If the LA punk band, The Plugs, had recorded that album with Dylan. And of course, he had famously played on Letterman with them. It was a really great performance. Anyways, this recording I think is fabulous. I think it must dodge copyright stuff occasionally. So if I see it, I'll post the link. And it was really good. So that got me into Daniel Romano. Started to realize that this guy was not only prolific, but also straddled many genres, from progressive rock, AOR, country, straight ahead rock and roll. And so these are albums that came out from Romano and his outfit or solo during 2020. I think in total, I didn't get all of them. I think he released a total of about 10 albums, some of them live as well. These are all studio ones. If you're looking for something that I would recommend as a first step in, if it's not the Bob Dylan Infidels reimagined, it would be this particular one. It's called How Ill Thy World Is Ordered. Daniel Romano, strongly recommend you listen to this record to get an idea about this prolific man. That's question number 3. Question number 4, if you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? And I'd have to go with the 70s. I think, to me, the 70s has all of the kind of the coming of age of rock and roll. I'm not so big on the 60s rock and roll stuff, so I like the coming of age of 70s rock and roll. To me, 70 and to 74, my favorite years in terms of just when albums were released, the sound of the albums, where rock and roll was at, which is kind of my favorite genre, I guess. But also, you think about it, singer-songwriter kind of really came into its own, that genre, the Randy Newman, Jackson Browne, everything in the 70s. Punk started in the 70s, and loved punk. Soul and funk really kind of exploded in the 70s. So I'd have to go with the 70s. Things started to get a little bit weird in the 80s, and production got a little bit weird. And anyways, 70s is my one. Show a record or by a band or a singer from Manchester. Everybody's picking, I think, Joy Division and I don't know, maybe Oasis and stuff like that. Magazine, Howard Devoto, formerly of the Buzzcocks. This album, The Correct Use of Soap. A couple songs off of this. He does a cover version of Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, the Sly Stone song, which is okay. You Never Knew Me, I think, is just an incredible ballad. I really love that song, and a song from Under the Floorboards, which I think was a single from that album. So that is number 5. Number 6, which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? Well, for me, it was when I discovered this guy, Misha Panfilov. I don't know that he's for everybody, but I dove in deep into his collection. And actually, the first record I got of his, I think this came out in 2020. 2020, I think, was Momentum. And then Days as Echoes, really enjoy that record. This is another configuration of Misha Panfilov Septet. And this one just came out recently. A band he heads called Penza Penza. And then also this Atlantico record. So these are all Misha Panfilov records that I got in 2023. Some of them were released in 2023, some 1 or 2 years ago. He's pretty prolific, but I just really, I love his sound. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like part library, part lounge, part funk, part soul, part jazz. He's quite unique. And I don't know that he's for everybody, but somehow me and Misha just kind of clicked this year, and I found that I was in a Misha Panfilov mood a lot and played a lot of his music. So, show 7 7-inch records. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start off with a band that is not known for singles, and that's the Grateful Dead. These are reissues. You can kind of see the, there's a number there in terms of edition number, limited to 10,000, which kind of makes me think of the Sex Pistols song. It's like limited numbers and unlimited supply. That's why we left EMI. But Help on the Way and Franklin's Tower. Nice yellow vinyl. And of course, for you deadheads, Help Slip Franklin. Part of the a nice little flow of songs. Grant Lee Phillips, this is a single that I think came out from one of his records over the last few years, but I enjoyed this more than the main record that it came with, called Ragtown, and backed with Pink Rebel, but Grant Lee Phillips, really nice. I'm not even sure if that's his artwork. Yeah, that's a painting that Grant Lee Phillips did as well. So Grant Lee Phillips of Grant Lee Buffalo, quite enjoy his solo works. Bit hit or miss, but I like it quite a bit. Can't get more classic as a single than Jailhouse Rock, Elvis Presley. He's a little surprised in this picture. Another classic single that's had a big renaissance, I guess, with Stranger Things, but Kate Bush, Running Up That Hill. And then another few classic singles that I played absolutely to death. The Clash, Know Your Rights, all 3 of them. The Future is Unwritten. That was a great single. Saw them on that tour among many other tours. But The Jam, that's Entertainment, a classic Jam song. And then backed with a live version of Down in the Tube Station at Midnight. Awesome. And then probably what I would consider to be the greatest single ever released. This single, it's an EP really, but it's a 7-incher. And that's the Stranglers. Oh my God, look at that. $1.87. I think I bought about 5 or 6 of them because they had a whole glut of them and I gave them out to friends over the years. But listen to this, you Stranglers fans. If you don't know this EP, it's got Something Better Change, Straighten Out, Get a Grip on Yourself, and Hanging Around. I mean, those are 4 A-sides. Each of them are A-sides. 4-song EP. Look at that. Stranglers. Off of the last 2 off of Radis Norvegicus, Something Better Change off No More Heroes. 7 7-inch singles. We lost them. So Les McCann died in December. I just realized this when I did my research on what musicians passed away. I know a lot of people have chosen. There have been a lot of people who've left us this year: Shane McGowan, Sinead O'Connor, all people that was very sad to lose. Les McCann is somebody that I more recently became really interested in. Kind of a soul, funk, blues, jazz hybrid. Really interesting. And I'm going to put a link down below to one of the most incredible live performances, 1969 in Montreux with Eddie Harris, called The Track's Compared to What? And it's a well-known track, but just for any of you that don't know that song and this live performance of it, whew, it's just smoking. It's a pure 1969 kind of release in terms of the context. It's a lot of references to what the hell's going on in the world, in terms of war that I'm not, I don't want to fight, blah, blah, blah. But the performance is like a steam train running down the tracks. It's just bounces. It's got just this incredible forward momentum compared to what Les McCann. But Les McCann died, I think he was in his 80s, so I assume that was old age. But we lost a really great piano player in Les McCann. Invitation to Openness is another great record. Layers is another one, but this is a good one as well. Imagine you could only listen to music from one country. Who would you choose? This was a tough one. I mean, it goes between the US and the UK, I guess, or yeah, the UK. I'm going to go with US because really, in terms of jazz, singer-songwriter, country, alt-country, and rock, obviously there's a lot in the UK, and you leave out a lot of stuff that I love, especially the 70s stuff. I don't need to list them off, but I would say US. I would have to go with US. There's just more of that there. I would certainly lose out on a lot of fantastic artists, but I'll say US. Name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. So I really started watching, I think I started watching late 2022. My channel just started in early 2023, I think in January. In fact, my first video was the Vinyl Tag 2023. And it was nice because it was a chance, and for those of you who are thinking about getting into this, it's a great time to kick it off because people are checking everyone out, and you get a lot of opportunities to get subscribers and to get views. But I really enjoy doing that, and I enjoy these kinds of list of questions. I think sometime I might put up my own list of questions and see if I can build it into a thread. But Rob Walker is the man, and this is certainly something that everyone jumps on. So 3 vinyl community channels that you discovered in 2023. I'd already discovered Mazzy in late 2022 was one of the things that made me think I got to do this. Lost Mixtapes, Todd. I really enjoy his channel. I think he's just a complete natural at it. He's somebody that I feel like in a strange way that I'm sitting down and having a conversation, even if it's a one-way conversation. It's very much like what it is like with my friends who share the same passion for music, where we talk about things that we really love, artists that we really love, albums, blah, blah, blah. Todd does that for me. Definitely gets me interested in some stuff or reminds me of some artists that I haven't listened to for a while. And I think he's great. I really like Lost Mixtapes. Todd, thank you very much for your channel. Second one is Capo Fetish. Is it Tom? I think it's Tom. I apologize. I'm not sure. But partly I really like his channel because he, I think, started around the same time as me. And I've enjoyed watching his channel. He does really good ranking videos. He really knows his stuff, and he does direct me into some of the deep cuts and deep albums of artists that I may not know. I may know more superficially. So Capo Fetish would be the second one. And the third one I would say would be Reverend Rock and Rollin'. I don't know, I think the Rev's taken a little bit of a break, but he's the one that's always made me laugh and smile. And I really enjoyed his posts, and I'm hoping that he'll continue, but obviously he's got to do what's right for him. So, but he cracked me up, his whole running gag with the Ice Castle soundtrack, and those of you who know the Rev know about that. So those are the 3. I also, a quick shout out to MGK Boston because Mike's always been very supportive, and when you're first starting out in your first year, you really appreciate it. People who watch, people who comment, and Mike is great. So there you go. I've given you 4. I always do that. I always break the rules. Show a record you bought when you were a teenager. Deal with the Preacher. Good Love and Gone Bad. Bad Company. I loved them in high school, absolutely loved them, saw them a couple times live. I was always a big Free fan, and Paul Rogers' voice to me is one of the greatest rock and roll voices. And it's interesting to see Bad Company kind of come back into the zeitgeist as part of the first record, as part of the Atlantic 75 release. This record, I haven't played it in ages, but I'm thinking I might do it. I was sort of thinking maybe I should get that first Bad Company, and then I thought, look, you've got a record that you loved. It was an OG, so why not play that? So I think I'll start playing this again. See if it holds up. I don't know, but incidentally, a 1974 release, which was a question later, but that was one when I guess I was about 15 years old that I bought. Next up, Show a Funk or Soul record, James Brown. Next one, She's Great, a record by a female artist. Oh, show a record you think everyone has, then show a record that you think nobody has. So, record that I think almost everybody has would be Van Morrison Moondance. I tried to avoid some of the other ones. I mean, Dark Side of the Moon would be the best choice probably, but I don't want to be repetitive. But I think this would be pretty high in terms of everybody owning. And then one that I challenge you to see if you own this one. This is Songs for Swingin' Sellers. Peter Sellers. It's very bizarre. I got this in a discount bin and I have not listened to it yet, but I just had to get it. All right. Next up, She's Great, a record by a female artist. I bought this Greatest Hits from Nico Case. I've got a pretty much her whole catalog on CDs, but I didn't have anything on vinyl. And so I got this Greatest Hits. And I just can't say enough about Nico Case. I love the sound. She plays with the Sadies and various other people. But her voice is magical. It's like timeless, but it also feels like there's elements of great country artists. But of course, she brings her country influences into more of a rock and roll and alt country, I guess, sound, for want of a better thing. Nico Case, she's just great, an absolute gem. And number 16, the favorite video you posted on your channel and the favorite video you watched in the VC. Well, my favorite one, very briefly, was because I enjoyed putting it together. I don't know if it's necessarily my best one, but it's the arc of a relationship in a mixtape. It's just because it's something that I used to always talk about and found kind of amusing. So when I used to make mixtapes, I really enjoyed, especially with girlfriends, I would make a mixtape for the different stages of a relationship. And so the idea is that you could put a tape together for each stage of a romantic relationship, and you'd have songs by many artists, but that you could put a Bob Dylan song on every single stage of the relationship, from seeing a girl that you find attractive to the relationship is over and beyond and everything in between. So anyways, I enjoyed that. What about the favorite videos that I watched in the VC in 2023? I don't have a single one, but what I really enjoyed were the interviews that various people, from the Jazz Bums to Ken McAuliffe to, I guess, Mazzy, different people interviewing what I would consider to be kind of experts or people who are involved in the business side of the music business, of the vinyl community. So it would be the gentleman who interview with the gentleman who runs Jazz Detective, Zev, I think, Michael Fremer, Kevin Gray, Joe Harley. I really enjoy hearing the stories of how they came upon tapes or recordings or got permission, or, something that happened where they were able to release these great old recordings, some of them that hadn't been released in years, some of them that are just being remastered and re-released. And I really love that, and it gets me all excited about getting those records. So I love those interviews. That to me was my favorite part of the VC community. A record that I'd see as a 90s classic. This isn't really, for most people, wouldn't be considered a 90s classic, but for me, 1991's Laughing Stock, the second of the two kind of left turns for Talk Talk. Just, I've talked about it many times. I just absolutely love these two records, and the Mark Hollis solo record to a lesser extent. But I just love these records. They're somewhat challenging, but really rewarding in atmosphere and really, really special. So Laughing Stock from Talk Talk. Number 18. If I could walk into a cover and if I could walk into a cover of a record in my record collection, choose a record cover I'd like to be a part of. Well, I thought about this long and hard, and I think this would be maybe the one that I would choose. So this is Neil Young with Crazy Horse, 1970 era Crazy Horse with Danny Whitten on guitar. I've seen Neil many times with Crazy Horse and solo and with Promise of the Real. God, this record is so good. It's so raw. This came out, I believe, right after Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, which is such a classic Neil Young record. But to have gone to the Fillmore East and walked into this show, I would have loved that. That would have been great. 19, it's a greatest hits show, a record you're so familiar with that it feels like a greatest hits. So I'd have to go with David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust. I've listened to this record so often. There is not a track on here that I don't absolutely love and know intimately. So that would be like a greatest hits for me. And finally, don't censor this, Roxy Music. This was my entree into Roxy Music, country life. I just love this record. I don't think it gets enough attention. Right from the thrill of it all to that last track, Prairie Rose, just killer. This is such a good record. Now in Canada, when this first came out, these girls were missing, and it was just literally that green foliage with Roxy Music. I don't know. I kind of like the newer cover or the original cover. So that's it. Vinyl Tag 2024. Looking forward to watching all of yours. And thanks very much for watching. I do really appreciate, take a moment just to say thank you. It's really fun to do this, and I do this really for myself in the sense of I like being able to think about what I want to share with others. But, you know, it's kind of like what Paul Simon says about songwriting. You know, the audience completes the song is how I think he's referred to it. And I feel that way a little bit. You know, it's not just about numbers, but it means a lot when people watch. And when you strike a chord and somebody kind of goes, oh, I love that, or that's fantastic, or, you know, sometimes, oh, that's really good, but this one to me is better, can also lead me down a path of further discovery. So it's a two-way street. Anyways, I want to thank you all for watching, for subscribing, for liking when appropriate. And I want to wish you the best of 2024. And remember, Carpe diem.